को अध्यक्ष महोदय बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
माननीय सदस्यगण, जिन्हें आज नियम 377 के अधीन मामले उठाने की अनुमति प्रदान की है, वे व्यक्तिगत रूप से अनुबंधित पाठ सभा पटल पर प्रस्तुत कर सकते हैं। आइटम नंबर 12, तटीय पोत परिवहन विधेयक 2024। माननीय मंत्री जी।
Sir, I rise to move that the Coastal Shipping Bill 2024 to consolidate and amend the law relating to regulation of coastal shipping, promote coasting trade and encourage domestic participation therein to ensure that India is equipped with a coastal fleet owned and operated by the citizen of India for its national security and commercial needs, and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto be taken into consideration. Sir, Coastal Shipping Bill, a significant reforms initiative that seek to unlock the full potential of India's vast and strategic coastline, which stretches over 11,098 kilometers across 9 coastal states and 4 union territories. At a time when our logistics sector is looking for low-cost, reliable and sustainable alternative to overburdened road and rail network, this bill offers the maritime sector a much-needed push with a dedicated legal framework for coastal trade. The provision of the Coastal Shipping Bill 2024 are also in line with the broad vision of the National Logistic Policy as dedicated development of the coastal shipping sector, which is one of the most cost-efficient sources of transport, can play a significant role in lowering the overall cost of logistics for the country. Additionally, coastal shipping is also a sustainable mode of transport, as the emission level of coastal transport are much less compared to rail and road transport. Therefore, increase in the share of coastal transport in the model mix of the country will lead to reduction in pollution caused by the logistics sector in the country. Sir, presently, regulation and licensing of coastal shipping is governed by the Part 14 of the Merchant Shipping Act 1958, which applies only to mechanized vessels. However, it does not provide a holistic or forward-looking framework suited to today's commercial realities in line with globally prevalent cabotage practices. Part 14 of the Merchant Shipping Act 1958 is overshadowed by its primary focus only on providing licensing of Indian and foreign vessels for coasting trade in India. The result is regulatory gaps and procedural limitations that do not focus on development of coastal shipping sector in the country. As the current provision under Part 14 of the Merchant Shipping Act 1958 have not led to desirable growth in the coastal shipping sector, hence a need was felt to give due weight to statutory provision related to the coastal shipping sector for dedicated focus on the growth. It is thus necessary to enact a separate legislation that consolidates, updates and simplifies the coastal shipping framework in line with the needs of a modern logistic economy and the global best practices. Madam, the Coastal Shipping Bill 2024 is designed to do exactly that, to make coastal trade easier, more competitive and better integrated with India's overall transport vision. Madam, this bill introduces several forward-looking provisions. Chapter 1, 2 clauses consist of provisions on commencement and definition for the bill. Chapter 2, 5 clauses deal with provision regarding licensing and regulation of foreign vessels participating in coastal trade of India. Chapter 3, 2 clauses provide for formulation of the National Coastal and Inland Shipping Strategic Plan and creation of a national database for coastal shipping. Chapter 4, 5 clauses provide for licensing and regulation of foreign vessels chartered by Indian entities. Chapter 5, 19 clauses consist of penalties and offences for any contraventions of the provisions of the bill. The provisions related to penalties are in line with the central government goal of decriminalization of law. Chapter 6, 9 clauses consist of provisions regarding power of DG Shipping to seek information, issue direction, central government power to issue direction and provide exemption, among others. With respect to the key provisions of the bill, first and foremost, it does away with the requirement of a general trading license for Indian ship to engage in the coastal trade, that is Clause 3. This step will significantly reduce compliance burden and promote ease of doing business for Indian shipping companies, which is in line with the Government of India's mission of enabling ease of doing business. Secondly, Madam, the bill provides that the foreign vessels may only participate in India's coastal trade under a license issued by the Director General of Shipping, Clause 4, and allows the imposition of statutory conditions on such licenses. This may include crewing requirement or stipulation that part of the vessel be built in India. This will not only support Indian shipyard and generate employment for Indian seafarers, but also protect our long-term strategic maritime interests. Madam, importantly, the bill mandates the preparation of a national coastal and inland shipping strategic plan, Clause 8, to be revised every 2 years. This will assess the condition of shipping routes, forecast future traffic, identify areas for improvement, and promote synergy with inland waterways. The plan being formulated under Clause 8 is rightly referred to as a strategic plan because it will provide the long-term vision and determine the roadmap to achieve the goal specified in the preamble of the bill. Further, the integration of coastal and inland waterways will promote regional development of riverine and coastal areas alike in the country. This bill will also give impetus to the long-term vision of development of coastal and inland waterways transport in states such as Odisha, Karnataka, and Goa, among others. Another major step is the creation of a national database of coastal shipping, that is in Clause 9, containing details of the license issued, road use, vessel involved, and other key information. This will bring transparency, enhance coordination, enable data-driven and timely decision-making for regulators, shipping companies, and the broader logistic ecosystem. Additionally, the bill also provides for licensing of foreign vessels chartered by citizens of India, NRI, OCI, LLPs, as well as any other Indian entity as may be specified by the central government. That is Clause 11. This provision expands the category of charterers who can charter a foreign vessel in India. Respected Madam, a concern often raised about central legislation is whether they undermine the rule of state. I want to assure this House that the Coastal Shipping Bill 2024 is firmly grounded in the spirit of cooperative federalism. Far from centralizing powers, the bill provides for active representation of state and union territories in key institutional mechanisms. Under Clause 8.3, a committee to be constituted to prepare the national coastal and inland shipping strategic plan. This committee will include representatives from every major ports, all state maritime boards, and other experts. This ensures that the state will not only be consulted, but will actively shape the strategy, route, regulatory approaches for coastal shipping. Such an approach will help align national policy with local priorities and unlock region-specific opportunities. Furthermore, the integration of coastal shipping routes with inland waterways, which often traverse multiple states, call for collective planning and coordinated execution. By recognizing the role of state in this regard, this bill ensures that the growth of coastal shipping is inclusive, participative, and aligned with the vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Respected Madam, the proposed law built on the strong foundation laid by this government over the last decades, including prioritized berthing for coastal vessels, grain clearance channel, GST reduction on bunker fuel, and the right of first refusal scheme for Indian-built vessels. The result is visible. This is a very significant. Because of the adopting this kind of initiative, the result is visible. Coastal cargo traffic has grown by 119% over the last 10 years, rising from 74 million metric ton in 2014-15 and to over 162 million metric ton in 23-24. We now aim to grow this further to 230 million metric ton by 2030. To support this aspiration, we need legal clarity, regulatory stability, and investment-friendly rules, and that is exactly that this bill delivers. Internationally too, countries as the United States, Australia, and the European Union have adopted dedicated laws for coastal trade. This provision in this bill reflects the best of those practices adopted to suit Indian conditions. Madam, this bill is the outcome of consultation with stakeholders across the maritime sector. In addition to interministerial consultation, input were also received from several private stakeholders. In conclusion, this legislation is timely, necessary, and forward-looking. It will reduce logistic costs. What is the merit of the particular this initiative, this particular bill? It will reduce logistic costs, promote green transport, support Make in India, and create thousands of jobs in shipbuilding, port services, and manning of vessels. The overarching goal of the bill to develop a coastal fleet owned and operated by Indian entities will lead to reduce dependence on foreign vessels for critical areas relevant for our country's coastal shipping. Since coastal shipping is highly significant for movement of critical cargo, including food grains and fertilizer, greater number of Indian ships handling coastal cargo provides supply chain security and prevent escapement of revenue forex to foreign owners and enables a burgeoning local economy in terms of job, shipbuilding, and the likes. These goals are in line with the broad mission of self-reliance as envisaged in creating Atmanirbhar Bharat. Further, increasing the number of Indian fleet in coastal shipping and statutory regulation of foreign vessels operating in our coastal water is critical for ensuring our national and maritime security too. Hence, this bill has well accounted for the same. It aligns local aspiration with national goals and provides a framework for the next 25 years of coastal economic growth under the Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047. I urge honourable members to support this bill and help lay a strong, modern foundation for India's maritime future. Thank you.